people who appreciate and love art. So thank you very much for all your company this evening. When I was first asked to compose a poem for this occasion, I hesitated for 3 seconds. In those 3 seconds, there was one thought that crossed my mind. It's something that some people say quite a bit, which is that poetry cannot and perhaps should not be written to order. But I have a different take on that, and by the 4th second, I had readily agreed to write a poem for tonight. And there were two main considerations in my mind when I said yes. One is that where we are as a society in terms of the general awareness and appreciation of art and where we could be, there is actually a gap, and I think anything that could be done to try to narrow that gap, we should give it a shot. The second consideration is that in 1939, the British-American poet W.H. Auden wrote a poem dedicated to the Irish poet W.B. Yeats, which has that famous line, "Poetry makes nothing happen." I think that that's not always true, and sometimes poetry, a poem could try to reach people, try to touch people's hearts, and something could happen. So what I'm going to do is to recite the poem, and immediately after that, I will give a kind of commentary on the poem. I will highlight some of the key points of what I intended points of meaning that I intended to include in the poem. It's something that is very seldom done. In fact, I've never seen a poet do that. But I'm going to do that this evening. Partly because my wife is always telling me that I should explain my poems more to other people, make it easier for them to understand what I'm trying to say. So I will do that this evening. But before I read the poem, there are two things I want to note. One is, as Yanru mentioned, in your wellness care, on top of your wellness care kit, there is another bonus tool for wellness, the printed poem. And if you would like to look at the text and follow along with the reading, please do so. The second point I'd like to note is that this poem is written in a traditional form. It is a sonnet, so it has 3 quatrains, 3 stanzas of 4 lines each, in the rhyme scheme A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, and then with a closing rhyming couplet, G, G. So here's the reading. Gifts of art. They were there all along, details that deft brush strokes sweep into view, or choice words light up, relieving travails of wondering which meaning is due. This is what art yearns to give freely. Ingredients of soul, like pollen oft in slight breeze, germinating only where they're welcome to have fallen. Such worth is received only with 2 other types of gifts supporting: audience attention without ado, and all donors with their vital backing. Thus, these presents can then multiply, demand creating even richer supply. I'm going now to do a commentary on the poem and highlight some of the key ideas that I was trying to convey. The title of the poem, Gifts of Art, refer to at least 3 types of gifts. And I'll explain them in the course of the poem. In the first stanza, the key idea there is that there is almost always an intended meaning by artists and writers which are there for audiences to take time to discern and appreciate. And that process is always assisted by the support of patrons and donors like yourselves. In the second line, there is a reference to the deft brush strokes. For conciseness, I was using there the imagery that is from painting, of a painter like Chua Mia Tee. But also embraced in that is all the other types of the visual arts, including the pottery of an Iskandar Jalil, or the sculpture of a Teo Eng Seng, who is with us this evening. In the third line, there's a reference to choice words. And there I was thinking of words written by 2 particular groups of people. One are all the curators and all their teams who are trying to help people appreciate art. And the other group of people who put choice words together are writers, including poets. And I feel very privileged to have been able to do that almost on a full-time basis in the 6 months of my poetry residency. A residency which is possible only because of the deep love of poetry of Chong Siak Ching. It's something which I will always be very grateful for. And because artists and writers make this effort to put that meaning out there, they're helping the audiences, people who are trying to interpret those artworks, to save them some of the trouble of wondering which meaning is due. And the choice of the word due there is not just referring to applicability, but also due in the sense of time, because interpretations change over time. The second stanza contains the central metaphor of this sonnet, which is what art offers humanity. And here I describe it as ingredients of soul, like pollen oft in slight breeze. So these bits of soul are like pollen, and they are drifting in the breeze of the support of the patronage of art. And it's slight because such patronage is usually limited in size and extent. And it can only germinate where they are in fertile soil, where they are welcomed by audiences. And that leads to the 2 other types of gifts of art, which are referred to in the third stanza. And the 2 types of gifts are, 1, audience attention without ado, meaning that audiences give their attention to art without the interference of ego or any other agenda. And the third type of gift of art is the crucial support of patrons and donors like yourselves. And so these 3 gifts of art can go forth and multiply only when all 3 are together. The ingredients of soul that art offers, number 1, and number 2, the gift of attention from audiences, and number 3, perhaps most important of all, especially to tonight's audience, the vital backing of patrons and donors like yourselves. Thank you very much.